Hey guys, it's Mitch. How's it going? It's time for another homage cover. I got like 2 pages into issue 5. It's like, the hell with this shit. Let's do something fun for a bit. So yeah, this is going to be an homage to New Mutants number 87, the infamous Liefeld cover. That's a swipe of a Gil Kane cover. So just before we get into it, if you enjoyed the channel, if you feel like you might want to help out a little bit, go subscribe on my Patreon. Links are in the description. All right, so yeah, this is, I guess this is iconic. I mean, Rob certainly thinks it is, because Lord knows he's copied his own cover often enough. So I figured I had to give it a shot at some point. And naturally, since I got my guy with a gun, the only guy with a gun is Popo. Popo gets featured on like every single homage cover, it feels like prominently. And yeah, it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, this isn't the Popo show, right? It's like, well, are you sure? Because, if you look at the actual comic, there's like 2 storylines going on simultaneously. One is the team, and they've got this problem they're dealing with the UN head minister guy, whatever. And the other one is Popo on his own doing badass things. And it's like, it's not the Popo show the way X-Men wasn't the Wolverine show. It kind of is. I don't know. So getting right into it naturally. The proportions were interesting because I'm trying to match. Man, a lot of flares going on here, aren't there? Trying to match the proportions on the cover that Liefeld did. And he's very square, just massive shoulders. Trying to get the semi-Liefeld hair. Well, I will say, that Liefeld does better hair than me by a fairly wide margin. I mean, hell, that guy's older than me. He's still got his hair, so he's got references. I don't got no references. And yeah, and we're going to try and match these Liefeld hands as well. The rest of it, I'm kind of, just doing my own thing on. But the hair and the hands, I figured, you got to try and reference it directly, I think. Because, I mean, the hands in particular are, they're pretty bad. Like he's looking directly at a Gil Kane cover and not being able to pull off those hands. It's like, okay, well, we gotta try and pull off Liefeld hands better than he pulled off Gil Kane hands anyway. Yeah, like the proportions on these shoulders and arms and everything is just kind of crazy. But yeah, it works. I mean, I will say it works. Like, I don't know. There's parts of me that thinks, man, Liefeld could do a better cover than I can. And it's like, well, I don't know that he can really, but he's got a couple where it's like, man, I kind of wish I'd thought of some of these things that he's doing. I will say I freewheeled the pistol here way too much because it's not. I should have put a bit more thought into it. It's going to end up looking pretty half-assed. Oh, here we go with. Turns out Mitch doesn't have a compass, which I took some shit for on the stream. I had to find something that was roughly big enough. Some paper glue ought to do it, or paper cement. So I'm planning on ordering one of those soon, at least. That's something. But yeah, and all this next stuff here, that's, I'm not copying off anything for that. And same with all these textures down here. The actual original cover is pretty light on shadow and rendering. Even though it's Todd McFarlane doing the inking on it. I think he added what he could where he could, which is why he's got like the gigantic eyebrows and just like all the face lines and everything. But oh, that's a little better, thank you. Hopefully we won't flare nearly as often now. But yeah, no, I'm decided that okay, I'm gonna try and add a bit more to it. This mouth on hard here in the bottom got out of control. Didn't look too bad in the pencils, and then the inks, it's just like, not quite. One of those many arguments that I tend to make unconsciously to do more elaborate pencils. Maybe one day. And trying to match the Liefeld expressions, which are largely just open mouth screaming. Whenever there's a head nearby, I guess this is the origin of the dude standing with heads cover that Liefeld loves to do. It's like the only thing he can think of most of the time. Either that or just a dude standing. So yeah, he had the circles here because it was a direct reference to Avengers number 145, the original cover by Gil Kane. And then, yeah, ever since here, it's just like, okay, now all we need to do is keep drawing dudes standing and then just draw free floating heads in the background. They won't notice that I'm essentially doing the same thing that I did on, this first cover that I did, well, it's not the first cover, but it's his first big cover, I guess. Yeah, just let's throw on the cross hatching because we've already kind of thrown caution to the wind here. And since I don't have a compass, naturally these lines around the circles here, those are all going to have to be done freehand. The big ones you try and do at least with the can again, I think, and it's just like it's not going to work. So it's going to look kind of rough. That's not the worst thing. It's a variant cover. Yeah. And yeah, I don't even know what else to say about this thing. It's copying directly. I think it's a decent version. Oh, this is the hand that I really needed to copy. Because this is the thing. Whenever I see this cover, this is what I look at directly. The rest of it, it's like a little bit here and there, but that hand is just like, good God. Like trace it or something. And then I kind of half ruined the effect by putting some shading on the biker glove he's got going on. So that almost makes it look a little better. Can't have that. So okay, we got Popo pretty much done here. So now time to fill in some of these heads. Trying to match the energy of the head in question to one of my guys. So naturally, because this one is Richter, who looks unimpressed. So that's shock block in a nutshell right there. One thing I got from the original cover was more black in the figure. So getting more black in the vest that shock block often wears here. And I gotta say, it looks better. I'm not sure who that's on. Probably Todd. I wonder how much of this Todd actually drew. It feels like a lot, really. This feels like almost more of a Todd cover than a Liefeld cover. It's like bare bones is Liefeld. And then Todd filled in all the detail. So, yeah, I guess the top two here are kind of interchangeable because it's just kind of shock, right? So, hey, let's do Fireburn and Hawkstab making essentially the same face. That's kind of what Rob did. Again, going for a little bit more black with the shadow on the neck there. I never know when to do some backlighting and when to do just solid bleed a guy off with straight shadow. I guess it kind of depends on the background, right? The problem is I'm working off of Platt, who likes to double light everything. At least early Platt anyway. And more of that black getting into the neck on Hawkstab here. And I'm gonna try and focus a little bit on it this issue, I think. There's all sorts of stuff that I'm trying to bring into it. It's interesting seeing the progression from issue to issue. It's like this issue actually in particular. I've got 2 double page spreads in consecutive order there. The 2-3 and the 4-5 spreads. So evidently that was. I'm pretty sure that's an influence of reviewing Travis Charest Wildcats issues, because he was all about. Just 2-page compositions with, multiple panels for the most part. And yeah, trying to come up with striking single images. So I'll see if I can do that as well. I don't think it'll come anywhere near as close, but that's okay. And I think we're just about done here. Yeah, that pistol's kind of rough, but that's okay. If theoretically that should get largely covered up with corner box and maybe some lettering or something. But that'll do it. So that's the variant cover for Blood Force number 5. Yeah, didn't get too far into the issue before we had to get going on those. It feels like I'll just do these every once in a while when I think of a good one. there's always a few good options. I mean, like Eddie McFarlane cover while he was at Marvel is usually pretty good. Jim Lee honestly doesn't have very many good ones. Mark Silvestri has a few, but for the most part, I think it took him a while to kind of figure it out. It's interesting. Try to come up with, like a good cover composition. It's tougher than I would have anticipated, honestly. I feel like growing up reading a bunch of Image comics, is you just, okay, draw a dude and then hatch off the background, which is kind of what, Blood Force started out being anyway. And then I've just kind of slowly moved away from it. Anyway, that's it. Not too bad. I don't feel too bad about putting that on the book. I'm sure we'll get another 3 or 4 homage covers in this eventually. Oh, and I got my little signature off in the corner there, which is Mitch after Rob after Gil. So, paying credit where it's due. Anyway, that'll do it for this one. Hopefully I should have the double page spread ready for next week's commentary at least. So hopefully we won't skip any more time for a little bit. But thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications so you know when the next one's coming out. Go over and subscribe to my Patreon. Gives you early access to everything I do, from the Blood Force stuff to the YouTube videos before they get uploaded to YouTube, as well as some Patreon exclusive content. You can also follow me on Instagram and DM me there for commissions, and you can join the Blood Force Discord server. Yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.